But I'm just glad that JV2 is kind of like the park builder that we wanted. Um, I know we have like probably like what like a one more year of content because I imagine there's gonna be a final DLC um in December. Because I call me crazy. I think they're still gonna make DLC. Like that's what the guide or whatever you call it said. This is actually coming out way better than I thought. I love the symmetrical kind of the vibe here. Let me just go into yeah, looking pretty sharp. But yeah, and I know I really crapped on the Malta DLC, but I as you can tell, I'm on the Malta map, the square map right now, and I really do love the biome, and I mean I wish there was kind of more of it. I don't know if we're gonna get a Malta. I doubt we will because the Biosyn one hasn't really been updated, but I am on last gen, so the lack of decorations is kind of annoying when it's spread out among like five biome building sets. Now, if I were to get a PS5, which hopefully I can save up the money to get really soon, uh, obviously JV2 is going to be one of the games I get, along with the Dead Space remake. The Dead Space remake looks pretty banging. Um, I've only played the second one and the DLCs associated with it, but yeah, I would gladly spend money on that. Hmm. But I can't really think of any other games on PS5. Maybe God of War. I played the 2018 one. I was a big fan. My biggest fear with the sequel Ragnarok was gonna be that they were gonna finish the whole Norse mythology saga in two games. Because the Greek one, the Greek saga, I played three. I didn't play the other ones, but obviously I know the gist of it. Like Kratos kills the pantheon. My biggest fear was that they were gonna rush uh, the whole saga. Like they were gonna complete it, and I was like, well, no. I feel like you have to build up the tension and the rivalry and this whole conflict with like the pantheon and finishing up in two games. I feel like I'm gonna expand this way. I feel like that might be a good idea. And finishing that in like three games, or sorry, two games, is gonna kind of take away the umph from it because the Greek saga, if you count like the spin-off games, including like that weird iOS game, that had to be like six games maybe, but it was pretty substantial and like you knew Kratos, you even knew the other gods, like you knew, and that was like my biggest fear. And I don't know, I mean, from what I hear, like the game is amazing, and my fears aren't really anything to like talk about because I mean, but that's why I kind of waited a while. That and obviously I can't go around playing buying new games because don't really have the luxury nor the money to just buy new games at will. I think I might do another plaza right here and like have like some more exhibits. Oh, also speaking of plazas and everything, why don't they just bring back the innovation, or not innovation, the security center and science center from the first game? There's actually a few assets from the first game I'm surprised they didn't bring in. Hmm. I'm gonna leave this here for now. I might expand this way. Hmm. Trying to think of how I want to do this. I might do like I might do like a shopping center here or something. Hmm. I probably need to do a monorail system or a tour guide system pretty soon. But to my knowledge, there's no other PS5 games that I would buy, at least so far. Also, kind of a topic shift. I guess I can move on from video games and talk about TV shows. I barely watch TV shows now in my spare time. I mainly just watch like YouTube videos or like just like random stuff like I guess like analysis videos, like speed running stuff, and like I watched EFAP like every frame deserves where they just like riff on movies and games and stuff. But uh, when I do watch the shows, mainly like stuff I want to watch, obviously, like Marvel shows, and that's mainly it. I mean, I used to watch uh, Special Victims Unit, Law and Order all the time, but to be honest, I'm not a fan of the new. I stopped watching like a few years ago. Um, I didn't like how it was the show was getting involved in like the personal lives and everything of the detectives. Not like that I don't care. Like I mean, some of the detectives on the show, like Olivia and Stabler, when he was still on it, were good. I just didn't like the new cast. Like what was it, Carisi and Rollins? Like I I wasn't a fan of them. Not to mention, I if I don't like the character, like how am I supposed to get involved in their drama? But they're like literal whole episodes and sagas based on like Rollins had like a gambling addiction. And I'm sorry, I don't want to watch like Grey's Anatomy or something. Like I want to watch Special Victims Unit. Like, is that something like some weird impossible thing to ask for? Like, and but yeah, I stopped watching that. I stopped watching SVU like 3 years ago, and and it's funny. Like I kind of read some books kind of based off that, like based off like crime and uh like investigation. I read like a lot of James Patterson murder mystery novels. But just a quick aside, I'm very proud of how this Nigersaurus exhibit came out. I kind of like how the swampy delta look. But yeah, let's see. Hawkeye. I never watched WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched like the first half of Miss Marvel, the first episode. I could not get into it. Maybe if I sit down and make myself go through it, I can finish it. I watched Loki. So I have watched Loki, Hawkeye, What If, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk. I guess I'll start with Loki. I actually kind of liked it. However, in isolation, I liked it. If uh, it does completely destroy the MCU because of the whole the entire TVA. I'm just gonna connect it to the food court. Why not? The entirety of the TVA just destroys it. And to be honest, like I don't know why the TVA. I don't read a lot of Loki comics or stuff. I don't know if the TVA is like that big of a thing. Like if people are like really asking for the TVA. And yeah, I just wasn't a fan of that. But in isolation, I enjoyed it. I mean, there's things I don't really understand about it, and of course, I have like my nitpicks and criticisms. But I thought it was pretty solid. Um, Hawkeye. Well, hold on. I'll move on to What If first. What If I really loved. I loved the different scenarios and everything, and uh, I was a big fan of the whole multiverse, like how every episode tied into something. The greater plot. By the way, slight spoilers too for these shows if you're watching. I didn't like the zombie episode. First off, it didn't really have any payoff other than there's like a quick cameo in the final Ultron episode, like Doctor Strange calls the zombies in. And I guess it was cool to see an adaptation of Marvel Zombies, but it was kind of different. Very different from the comic. And I just wasn't a fan of the humor and just the tone of it. Like, it wasn't like, okay, I know Marvel has some humor in it, but like I mean, there's plenty of videos on this episode too. Like the ooh, actually, this would be a great spot for like a tour vehicle. I just realized. Ooh, yeah, I actually might do that. But the jokes they make in that, I'm like, really? Like, what? And it's not like What If was known for its humor. It was just like, I mean, yeah, you have humor, but like, it's not like a complete laughter stock. So I just wasn't really a fan of the jokes because it completely ruined the vibe of the episode. Like, you can't go for this macabre, gritty, realistic scenario and have these dumb jokes. This completely ruined the vibe of the episode too. Oh god, that is butt ugly. Let me try and. Okay, sorry guys about that abrupt edit. My dad dropped by my house for some reason. He didn't even tell me he was coming. But unfortunately, I did do some stuff off camera, and it's not like one of those Minecraft YouTubers that do everything off camera. I did edit this little area here and added some overraptors. I wanted like something small uh, to fill up the space over here. And also, I added like these old chairs over here, just filling some space and everything. Because a lot of zoos you'll see like just benches everywhere. And I want to apologize for the other. One thing I noticed when reviewing the footage is sometimes my mic will glitch up. Now I haven't used my mic in a while. Maybe it's just like wear and tear. And second thing is I do a lot of scanning the map, and partially in my defense, I'm kind of like analyzing it in my head to like see where I can expand and move on. Because God, in episode 2, 3, depending on how I edit it, um, I go like I'll literally put a building down and then like scan the map like that, but obviously way slower. Um, so yeah, apologies for that. I promise to be more efficient, but some of it is very tedious though, and sometimes I ponder whether or not to have it on camera. But like I said, I'm trying to see if I did anything else. Donuts. Oh, and obviously I added the viewing gallery, and I added like a little. I tried to find something here. I think this fountain would be good. I don't really use the fountains a lot. And also, it's getting to that point in the map where uh, dinosaurs will randomly begin glitching out. I had a Uranus escape. And I even checked to see if there's a gap in the fence, because I thought I saw one when I went back to episode 1. But regardless, we are back here today, and I think that's slanted. Dang it. But I think I was talking about Marvel shows last time. I can't remember where I left off, but I do remember What If I was talking about, and I was kind of praising it. Uh, but yeah, is this good? What If was pretty good, and I think the one after that was it Moon Knight? Or I think it was Hawkeye after that. Hawkeye I enjoyed. I think the ending was kind of mediocre. Um, it's like I swear that's still asymmetrical. If not, I can fix it in post. It is. But I should have just left it as is. Dang it. Okay, what if I just do none of that fancy stuff? Oh, okay, I see where it is. This side is jutting out a tiny bit more than the other side. I wonder if that's even worth fixing. We'll come back to that later. I'm just going to go ahead and put the Listosaurus in here, which is what I planned on doing. Wonder if I can. I have unlimited feeders on, so I don't really need MVU checkups or outposts or fences or gates anyway. But I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the hatchery. But yeah, Hawkeye I liked. I think the ending was very rushed and kind of like, how do I say it? Like, not uneventful. I kind of wish that Hawkeye was the one to fight Kingpin. I mean, that would have been cool, but literally Kingpin is name dropped or shows up in the second to last episode, like at the end of it, like as a cameo to like, oh, this is the big bad villain, and then he shows up in the next episode, and he just gets defeated, and he possibly dies, but that apparently in the comics he survives getting shot by Echo. So Hawkeye, I'll probably give like a 7 out of 10. Again, the ending just kind of crap to bed in my opinion. Moon Knight, I have good and bad about it. Moon Knight, the first episode I like because it kind of sets up this whole like, oh, what's going on? This guy's kind of crazy, blah blah. And the only thing I didn't like was how he gets fired from his job at the museum, and I really hate this cliche. I don't know if it's like an action movie cliche or like they like the I mean spoilers from Moon Knight, but the Jackal, a monster, comes at the end of episode 1 and chases Steven, and only Steven can see it. The security camera can't. So when Steven goes to his job the next day, like the security guy is like, oh dude, like what's going on? Like why are you like breaking? Well, he gets fired for it, but you can tell like based on the destruction, like there's no way a singular dude could also this habitat looks butt ugly. I'm gonna need to spice it up off camera. Like I'm like there's no way a regular dude could do that. Like I'm sorry, like that. And then like I feel like there's better ways to signify that he lost his job. Just have him like, just have the guy. Okay, I see. This needs to be bumped up like a centimeter. That fence. I'm just gonna. So, hold on. Is there another way I can do this to like make it not? But yeah, just have it to like where the guy. Just says, hey, take a break from work or something, like we don't want you here. There's like other ways to do it, and it's just kind of odd. And then
transportation complete.
Episode what is it? 2. I'm trying to remember what happens in the show. Episode 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think anything happens in episode 2. Other than so I'm just being very meticulous about these. And the curve's gonna be. So I don't think anything happens in episode 2, which oh, cool, whatever. Episode 3 I think is when they have the meeting with the gods, the Egyptian gods that have to like, because they speak through the avatars and everything. And first of all, it's very lame that they don't use the CGI mod. I know they're doing the avatar thing to, I guess, like lore wise, like all the gods need the avatar, and they're doing it to save money on the CGI. And it makes sense, but come on, like you have all these Osiris, Ra, I don't think Ra was one of the ones, but you have all these cool gods and you just don't use them, like, and they speak in these deep voices and shout, and it's kind of cringe, like, Oh, and also, oh yeah, I'm making these green to match the banners, but they speak like okay, you guys know what's coming. It's so dumb. Okay, so the villain, Khonshu calls uh the Council of the Gods or wherever he does the eclipse to make it, um, like to make the gods appear and be like, hey, blah blah blah, like Amit or what's the guy's name? The Amit's avatar. I cannot remember the guy's name. The Ethan Hawke guy Ethan Hawke plays, and he's like, hey, he's gonna release Amit. He has his mercenaries in the desert, or he doesn't even say that part. He's like, he's gonna release Amit, and literally, Ethan Hawke comes up and he's just like, nope, and they believe him and they let him go. And it's not even that. Amit, I keep calling him Amit. Ethan Hawke, says, hey, I'm gonna do a Jurassic tour here. I kind of like the trucks better than the gyrosphere, but Ethan Hawke is like, hey, this guy is mentally unwell, which has nothing to do with the like underlying like conversation based on like whether or not this dude is evil. And literally all he says is, oh, I didn't do it. Like I don't know what this guy's talking about. Also, he's unwell. He chose a broken avatar, and okay, I'm gonna leave that there while I work on the food court. And I know I sound like a broken drum with like saying and, but there's just so much wrong in that scene, and everyone keeps saying like, oh well, don't you get it? They're doing that because that's the way Amit, uh, or like no, had they done it the way Amit and Ethan Hawke do it, with like looking to the soul or the future or whatever bullcrap they do, where they premeditate, they look into, they do the scales thing. Like, oh, had they done it that way, they would have condemned Ethan Hawke and banished him. No, I don't think that's clever writing. Come up with some other reason. How about the mercenaries in the desert, or the fact that he has an Amit tattoo? He just says, "Oh no, that's not true. I don't. I'm just visiting the desert." I'm like, what? And that works on these supposedly intelligent gods, like, and of course, like, I hate to cause like beef with. I mean, this is probably gonna get like only 10 views. Like these big YouTubers that praise Marvel and Marvel products, mainly new rock stars. Even though I haven't, I used to watch their stuff all the time because I did enjoy their content for a while. Uh, they're like, oh, like this scene is so clever because this is this, and like, I don't think it is. I think it's awful, to be honest. I wonder, maybe I can make that thinner and put a large. Nah, it's okay. Come on. Oh my God! Speaking of new rock stars, so I think it's episode 30 when. Again, it's been like a year since I watched this, so I'm like I might conflate the two episodes together. When Khonshu moves the night sky, and I meant to make this a food place, a restaurant. I think, oh yeah, the other one's a toy shop. I need to make it to something else. When Khonshu turns back the night sky, for some reason, New Rockstar is just highly intelligent, or semi-intelligent, hopefully, YouTube channel said, "Oh my God, Khonshu just turned back time." But I'm like, and then they made a whole follow-up video like, "What does this mean? Like, is Thanos back? The whole MCU just got turned back 2,000 years." I'm like, no, it didn't. Are you guys idiots? Like, what gave off that impression? They even say in the show we're just changing the sky, and then it only lasts for a few seconds because Khonshu ends up getting shunned or banished or whatever. And I really don't like it when people misconstrue a show, and it's either a big criticism or they look too deeply into it. Granted, Marvel has I guess a stigma of its fans looking too deep into, like, oh, like, this is a reference to so and so, and it's so intelligent, and yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. Um, and then on the flip side, people started crapping on the final episode where uh, well, Khonshu speaks to Mark and Steven, and he he being Khonshu, uh, he like does something like he's like, oh you fools, I also control the wind or the night wind or something, and he sends a gust of wind which lifts Moon Knight to the sky, and everyone for some reason, like at least the people I saw, lost their mind. Like everyone, I'm just gonna change this up for variety. Everyone was like, "Oh, that he can't fly. Why are they changing this?" I'm like, guys, they're not doing that. All he did was state that simply a gust of wind came and lifted Moon Knight. It wasn't technically flying. I don't know. Like some people just confuse me with. Also, hopefully these guys have enough room. They should. They're a foot tall. Not that I care. I just want it to be practical, like the exhibit is big enough for them to function. Um, but yeah, our little Mediterranean zoo is pretty good. And I just got back from the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, and pretty good, pretty good zoo. Um, now, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, Moon Knight. Episode 5, I thought it was kind of weird they didn't kill Amit, because there's some weird excuse like, oh, I keep saying Amit, Ethan Hawke. Um, and I think the reason they came up with was like, oh, it will release Amit, or Amit, or it was something weird. I could kind of buy it, even though I really hate the thing where it's like, we're, uh, we're gonna let you live. I'm not a monster like you. And meanwhile, Moon Knight has killed like 1,000 people, like 1,000 unnamed mercenaries. Like they do the same thing in Morbius. Like, well, oh, I'll get to that in a second. Which, like, okay, whatever. Like, and so overall, I kind of enjoyed Moon Knight. Like, at some points I thought it was kind of boring. Like, I'm like, can y'all just? Because in total, Moon Knight's only on screen for like what, 15 minutes, like a few fight scenes across, and it, yeah, not really the biggest fan of lack of action. And I mean, the characters are very cool. I like the whole. I'm not a big. A lot of Moon Knight fans are apparently peeved at all the changes, but I welcome changes, um, as long as they're done good and as long as they have a payoff and everything. I I didn't. I think it was pretty cool to have the split personality and have Mr. Knight be Steven's interpretation of the Moon Knight costume. Apparently, a lot of people did not like that. Uh, like, cause they're like, oh, Mr. Knight is his own personality or persona. Like that shouldn't be how it. To that. And like, guys, like, I personally think it's a cool idea. Like, if you want Marvel to like follow everything to a T, then you're gonna be devastated. Whew. Was that the Nigersaurus? God, they're that loud from that far.